Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea about the bond we have with our dogs. It's a bond that's powerful for sure, but maybe we misunderstand it. And it all kicks off with this single moment, just one observation that kind of flips everything we think we know about caring for an animal on its head.
So picture this. It's a gray morning in London, and the author of our source material sees something that on the surface seems totally ordinary. But this one little moment, as they put it, rearranged something in them. It really sets the stage for a huge reevaluation of a relationship most of us just take for granted. So what on earth could it have been?
All right, so the scene starts to come into focus. At the center of it, there's a man, just sitting cross-legged on the pavement. Nothing all that unusual about that, right? But then, you see this next detail. His dog is pressed right up against him, so close that the author says it's like they were stitched to his ribs. Now that language is so important, isn't it? Not just next to him, stitched. That's a whole other level of connection.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. The scene is actually defined by everything that's missing. There's no leash holding the dog there, no one's barking out commands, it's not a performance for passerby, it's just this quiet, shared existence.
So this simple, quiet picture of a man and his dog ends up being the centerpiece for this entire explainer. It's a moment that really forces you to lean in and ask yourself what a truly healthy connection looks like.
And that's when the author has this pretty shocking realization. They realize that this bond, a bond forged in what looks like real hardship, was actually healthier than most of the relationships you see in cushy, comfortable homes. And that just begs the question, how could that possibly be true?
Well, that leads us to a really challenging idea. The idea that maybe our whole modern way of owning pets, which is built on so much love and providing all the best stuff, maybe it's missing something absolutely fundamental.
Just look at this contrast. It's pretty stark. On one side, you've got everything we give them. The fancy food, a mountain of toys, all the training classes, the supplements, the love we show off on Instagram. But on the other side, you have what their reality might actually be. They could be anxious, overwhelmed, living inside the noise of our own stress and getting only our fractured attention. And this, right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the argument. You can love your dog with everything you've got, but that is just not the same thing as being truly, deeply available to them. That man on the pavement, he might not have had anything material to offer, but what he did offer his dog was his complete, unbroken availability.
So, what do we call this thing, this quality that the man on the pavement had in spades, and that, if we're honest, a lot of us are lacking? Well, the source material gives it a name, and it's a great one: the literacy of presence. Let's really break down what that means.
Okay, first things first, this is not about obedience. It's not about the dog doing what it's told. Attunement is way, way deeper. It's a state where two nervous systems literally sync up, settling into the exact same rhythm. It's breath for breath, twitch for twitch. It's a shared state of being, not a master and pet dynamic at all.
And the reason this matters so much is that dogs are absolute experts at reading us. They know, on this deep primal level, when we're actually reachable, when we're grounded, versus when we're just kind of broadcasting static, as the author puts it. They know when we are there enough to truly lean into.
So this brings us to a pretty tough truth. Why is it that you so often find this profound level of attunement with people who seem to have lost everything else? Well, the answer seems to lie in the hidden cost of our modern, comfortable lives.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Why would this essential, core bond not only survive, but maybe even get stronger when all the buffers of modern life are stripped away?
And here's the answer laid out plain and simple. Our comfort, our insulation from the raw, unpredictable parts of life, it comes at a price. And a huge part of that price is our very ability to be fully present. See, when you have nothing, you're forced to fall back on these ancient ancestral survival skills. You have to be able to read your environment accurately. You have to sense safety from one moment to the next. You have to watch the world without the luxury of distraction. And you have to regulate your own nervous system simply because you must. These are the very skills that create presence.
For most of us, though, modern life does the exact opposite. Our attention is shattered into a million pieces by notifications and emails and to-do lists. Chronic stress keeps our bodies tight and on edge. Distraction? Well, it's not just something that happens occasionally. It's become our default mode.
Now, it is so crucial to get this next point. This isn't about romanticizing poverty or homelessness. Not at all.
The source is very clear on this. Seeing a completely relaxed dog resting against someone who owns nothing, that's not a moral statement about who's a good person. It's a diagnostic tool. It's simply telling you the truth about that person's nervous system, about their availability in that very moment.
So ultimately, this whole observation, it isn't really about the man on the pavement. It's about what his dog reveals to us if we're just willing to stop and actually look.
And look, this explainer isn't about to give you a 5-step plan for perfect presence. That's not the point. The point isn't to hand out a solution. It's to share a really powerful observation that might just shift your perspective on what our animals, and maybe even the people in our lives, truly need from us.
And that's the thing to remember. Our dogs, they're always watching. They never look away. They are these constant, honest mirrors reflecting our own internal state back at us. They show us the truth of our presence or our absence long before we're ready to admit it to ourselves. So the question this leaves us with is, what is your dog showing you?